Hey guys, what if being realistic is for the birds? The birds can pick it, but meaning, what if this? How many of you watching this the live or the recording? Yes, you watching this. Thanks for being here. How many of us have a higher level of impact, contribution, a legacy that we would have a passion for, and we feel driven to give back, to make an impact on the world around us, whether it's our grandkids, family, our significant other, in the business realm, in the philanthropic, the contribution realm, whatever it is. How many of us have a higher level of ambition, desire, purpose, mission to do more, give more, create a more beautiful legacy? Yeah. Okay, so great. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be watching this video titled about being realistic or not. Is it for the birds? I want to share with you just a few stories here in these next few minutes that hopefully will drive a point home. One, and I'm going to share with you two or three based on some iconic individuals and a couple of that are really close to home. Okay. One is, and I've shared this many times, one of my all-time mentors who's now passed on. I'm sure he's in heaven now. Nelson Mandela, just a reminder, Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. And while he was in prison, all the atrocities and crimes committed on some of his immediate loved ones and family, much less friends, were just horrible. If he decided to be realistic after spending 27 years in prison, being realistic would say, well, it's bigger than me, can't really make a difference. I've been out of touch for 27 years and these atrocities committed. How can I come out here and forgive and lead and help my country heal? Although, because he chose not to be realistic, he came out and lo and behold, he led. And he led a beautiful whole country to this healing and grace and forgiveness. And he eventually impacted the planet. And he became one of the iconic thought leaders and beautiful stories of grace. Another is a 15-year-old. How can a 15-year-old young Jewish girl impact millions and millions of individuals? If Anne Frank was realistic during the Nazi occupation, she would have said, well, why should I even record my thoughts and my stories and, write down this message of hope? If she was realistic, it wouldn't have made a hill of beans. It's for the birds. Instead, she chose not to be realistic and said, well, if even sharing my story helps me be stronger, much less one other person, then I will choose to put my story and my journey and my thoughts of hope down. And sure enough, that became The Diary of a Young Girl, and it sold millions and millions of copies, and it's inspired young and old through countless generations now. So beautiful, beautiful story. Anne Frank definitely wasn't realistic. One more story, iconic. I love reading about Honest Abe, Abraham Lincoln. I'm just always reminded that he battled with depression many times throughout his life. His mom died when he was 9 years old. If he was realistic in saying, I have this, he called it a black dog, the depression that I battle with, he could have used the story of his mom passing as, I've lost my heart, my drive. But instead he didn't. And he only had a grand total of just under 12 months of formal schooling. This statesman, this individual who later became a statesman, an iconic leader in our history, and again healed and brought together a divided nation, again, battled depression, the black dog. His mom died when he was 9, only had about 12 months or less of schooling, failed in business a number of times. He went into massive debt at one time. His fiance, who he loved dearly, died. And then, again, and he seriously thought about committing suicide a number of times during some of the deepest, darkest moments, including when he was in the presidential office. If any of these iconic human beings had decided to be realistic, man, we would have missed so much gifts, yes, so many blessings that because of their life, and the life was shared and told, and because they chose not to be realistic, wow, think of all the gifts and the lives that possibly would not have been touched, and other people they've given hope to also choose the path of not being realistic and stepping into a place of hope, of forgiveness, of love, of contribution, this legacy mindset. So I'm going to stop here. My next Facebook Live, I'm going to take this same message, but share with you 2 or 3 very personal, very close stories, some of my loved ones and friends, including a little look into my personal journey and some of the couple of the valleys and the peaks that I've been through as well, along with my late mom, and as well as a couple of my close friends. So for now, I'm going to leave you with these beautiful stories, Mandela, Anne Frank, Abraham Lincoln. Just realize these individuals are just like us. Each of them had their dark moments. Each of them had their moments of despair. Each of them battled with all kinds of challenges in life, and yet they chose not to be realistic. And thank goodness they chose that path and opened that door versus closing the door into using any of that as excuses. They use that as springboards to give a message of hope. So hope this finds you well. And again, being realistic often enough is for the birds, especially when it's tied to our sense of worth, and when we question often enough, when we question our value and ability to contribute to the world and our people around us. Just realize that. So again, open the other door. Hope and next level of living. Take care. God bless. Love to get your comments below if this message resonates with your heart. Take care.